Welcome friends. In this session now, we are focusing upon collocation analysis. Let's find out how word partnerships reveal the intention, identity, and hidden behavior. I'm very sure from our previous sessions like keyword analysis and concordance analysis, you must have developed a sequence by which you will be more curious about how these words can take us forward. What is the magic of words? What new methods we can learn? Here in this session, we will see how the words are traveling, how their pairs tell us the truth, what company they bring together, and what they offer us. Friends, today we will explore the collocations, that means they are natural partnerships between each other. We will see how words form company of each other and what meaning they offer us. No word exists alone. Every word gravitates toward preferred companions. Imagine the words that we use in day-to-day language. Strong tea, a powerful tea, a deep sleep, a tall sleep. These kind of words we use. These patterns exist in everyday language, but in forensic linguistics, they become investigative gold. Collocation analysis helps us uncover unconscious habits, psychological states, and even deceptive behavior. When we learn which words naturally sit together, we begin to see when someone deviates from their genuine linguistic rhythm. So now it is our task to find out what exactly is collocations in forensic linguistics. As we know, the collocation is a pair or cluster of words that frequently sit together. For example, phrases like pay attention, that makes sense, lose control. These two words are inevitably, deliberately sit together. These combinations are not random. They reflect stable linguistic patterns. In forensic work, identifying collocations help detect authorship, differentiate natural speech from rehearsed speech, and recognize the threat intensity. Collocation analysis draws out the unconscious part of language, the elements people cannot fake easily. Let's find out how collocation analysis works. It's a software that scans your corpus to identify which words frequently appear near a target term. We examine strength of association, frequency, and statistical significance, usually through the metrics like mutual information MI or T-score. But the mathematics serves a bigger purpose, that is pattern recognition. When words cluster around emotional or operational themes, they reveal psychological direction. Collocations as a psychological indicator. Friends, we know that emotion leaves traces. Threats often cluster around fear or dominance, the collocations. Suicide notes, for example, clusters around apology or closure collocation. Or sometimes the fraudsters use persuasion collocations like trust me, quick deal, or safe investment. So there are certain phrases that find so much nexus, so much consonance with the intention of the maker. Collocation shows us the writer obsesses what he fears, what he desires, or what he is trying to seek to manipulate. They are linguistic shadows, you can say. They are silent but visible through analysis. Let's take the case example of collocations revealing false testimonials. In an anonymized sexual assault trial, collocation analysis shows that several witnesses used identical, unusual collocations, phrases like shocked beyond words, the scene was haunting, it was unbearable, etc. These collocations did not appear in their natural speech elsewhere. Then there is a catch. This repetition suggests coaching. Collocation analysis thus challenges the credibility of rehearsed statements and guided the court towards more careful evaluation. Let's unfold the angle of collocations in threat analysis. When these patterns can predict the danger. Threat analysis messages often reveal escalation through collocation patterns. Let's have an example. Final warning. Don't test me. Don't test my patience. Your time ends. It's a last chance. Take it seriously. These kind of phrases. When these collocations appear consistently across multiple messages, investigator can map threat intensity and psychological escalation. Courts also rely on collocation shifts to classify threats as a mild, coercive, or eminently dangerous. The students of evidence or those who have keen interest in the field of evidence, you know that when confession can become irrelevant if it is suffered by inducement, threat, coercion, or promise. So here certain phrases can alarm you whether it's a coercion or it's a threat. Now let's understand how collocations can help you identify how the word partnerships expose the writer. Friends, everyone has a unique collocation habits. You, me, or everyone. We all have. For example, some people overuse the modal verbs like must understand, should know, etc. While some people rely on emotional collocations like heartbreak, pain inside, etc. While some repeatedly use the culturally rooted combinations like full tension, time pass only, come fastly, etc. Now these patterns become linguistic fingerprint. When comparing a question document with a suspect's known writing, collocation overlap becomes powerful authorship evidence. Let's take a case example. How can we link anonymous extortion note through collocation? In an extortion case, investigators found 3 anonymous notes sent to a business owner. Collocation analysis revealed repeated combinations such as follow instructions, no delay, cooperate properly. Now these collocations appeared in suspects' text messages from unrelated conversations. This overlap demonstrates consistent linguistic behavior, strengthening the authorship attribution in the court. Now let's understand when collocations can expose fabricating or staging. Fabricated texts often lack natural collocations. Friends, let's take an example. A forged suicide note. It might omit emotional clusters because it is written by someone else, such as I am sorry, forgive me, or take care. You will not find these personalized, attached emotions into that. Instead, it may contain unnatural, objective phrases like I decided to end my life hereby. Now this is quite formal, easily identifiable. This feels more legalistic. That stiffness is quite visible. And therefore, collocation absence becomes as meaningful as collocation presence. So here we are paying attention to the absence of certain emotions that makes the case doubtful. This distinction has solved numerous staged death cases. Now let's have a very interesting angle of collocation, that is collocation dispersion. It is like tracking the patterns across corpus. Dispersion implies or it shows where the text collocation occurs. For example, in threads, escalation collocations often appear towards the end. It's like a process. You are undergoing to a trend in which gradually the aggravation is increasing in ascending or descending order. In fraud emails, persuasion collocations appear early and reassurance collocations appear in the midway. So this dispersion tells us how a linguistic strategy unfolds across time. I am giving you a very plain, brief example. Imagine a threatening message. Now when I say message, these are the messages. Let's say these are 3 messages. The very first message which comes in the beginning, the language is like this, very calm. For example, we need to talk. Now gradually the second message appears which says that you are ignoring me. Now here it becomes a little firm. And at the end, when third message is received, the statement is, you will regret this. Now compare these 3 statements. First, we need to talk. Second, you are ignoring me. And the third, you will regret this. So here we can map these 3 sentences across the text. We can see that aggressive collocation at the end of the cluster. You will regret this. You may find that this is the highest aggression in these 3 messages. That tells us something important, that the threat is built step by step. It is not all of a sudden. And this is how the dispersion shows the unfolding of intent over time. So you need to observe calmly how the intention or aggression is increasing. And that is the beauty of collocation dispersion. Now let's find out collocations in multilingual or in Indian context. Indian linguistic landscape produce hybrid collocations influenced by multilingualism. These combinations help identifying regional background, educational level, exposure to certain dialects, peer group identity, and even specific workplace or communities. Forensic linguists often use multilingual collocation behavior to narrow down suspect pools and understand the group dynamics in online offenses. Friends, at the end, we also have to understand the ethical parameter, because everywhere, any method that you use, any step that you go, ethical consideration plays a very vital role. Let's understand how far can collocation analysis go, what we can expect. Let's be realistic. Collocation analysis is no doubt powerful, but it alone cannot prove the guilt. It supports hypothesis, it reveals the direction and strengthens the investigation, but always requires contextual grounding. I'll give an example. Suppose in a suspect's message, the words like angry, teach him a lesson, and he deserved it. These are frequently appear together. Now, collocation analysis tells us something important. The language is moving towards hostility and justification of harm. Angry, teach him a lesson, he deserved it. So here aggravation is quite visible. But here comes the boundary of ethical consideration. These word patterns do not prove that the person has actually committed the crime. And therefore, it only shows the direction of thought. So when we say ethical reflection, we must also take into consideration that what if the person who has used this language is just venting out emotionally, or he may be a fictional writer, or maybe who is someone who is speaking metaphorically. We know some people who always speak in metaphor. And therefore, ethical practice means we treat the collocation as a signal and not the verdicts. And therefore, we can say that collocations gives the language its hidden architecture. Thank you so much, friends, for joining in this session. Today we have covered how collocations reveal the intent, identity, and emotional state, and the narrative consistency as well. They transform scattered words into coherent patterns. Now, in our next video, we will delve into the keyword clusters, dispersion, and advanced corpus visualizations that will deepen your mastery of corpus-based investigation. Thank you very much.